Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm stuffy.
Yeah, dude, it's that time of year.
I'm stuffy. So I went to Yoga Fest last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was kind enough to be blessed by Mr. Melville. He gave me free tickets
Mm-hmm.
because I had mentioned that my lady was into yoga, and he was like, "Oh, have you ever been to Yoga Fest?" And she's like, "No, I never been, but I've always wanted to go." He's like, "Well, I'll hook you up with some tickets." And we're like, "Oh, sweet.
Hell
Looks like we
yeah.
got something to do Saturday, right?" Me personally, I've done yoga in the past. It's not something I keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously she's into it, so I'm gonna let her rock out. But I was there for the stores, for the vendors, because
Oh yeah.
I'm always recently because of her. I'm looking for shit that's better for
Mm-hmm.
your body, better for your skin,
Mm-hmm.
made out of organic materials.
Absolutely.
And I'm all for it. Now, granted, I will say I won't turn my back on science, but there is a certain holistic type of healing that is real. So, for example, I got a stuffy nose,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been having a stuffy nose for a while now. I just started taking some allergy medicine that helps out. But they had this thing right here. It was called the Breath Nasal Inhaler.
What we got there?
Have you ever seen this?
I've not.
Never seen this, right?
Uh-uh.
Guys, look at that. It looks like a bullet, okay? And believe it or not, this was $3.
Okay.
$3. And I was like, you know, me being new to this world, I'm skeptical of certain things,
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
such as CBD, healing lotions that, help with muscle aches and things of that nature.
As you should be sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I know what THC does, and CBD, maybe we'll see. So anyway, I was a little skeptical, but I was like, it's $3. Let me try it out.
Mhm.
So you get this little tube here, you shake it up, you open it up, and bro, it's like salts. I don't know,
Like smelling salts,
Yeah.
like type of thing. So you just, oh my god.
like wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's illegal in 48 of the states. Actually.
this right here, you think so, or bath salts? I don't know.
Right.
But nonetheless, I definitely feel a lot better, bro. Like it's amazing to me. It smells like eucalyptus on it for real. Like
Okay.
it just clears up your sinuses. You want to try?
I
Oh
wanna-
my god, would you really?
I don't want to try it,
That's
but I
kinda
want to look
nasty,
at it.
though.
Right? I grabbed it too fast. I'm like, yeah, I want to try it. Like after he just like shoved it halfway up his
Green
nose.
light, right?
Right.
But
Dang.
bro, $3, multiple uses. Definitely something that I am a fan of.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Right?
I would be down to check this out.
And like it's medicine in a sense, and it's so affordable, and that's why I really appreciate that, and this new atmosphere that she is introducing me to.
Mhm.
But the vibes were immaculate, bro. She did her yoga, and I sat there, I read some books, and I fell asleep.
That's
and,
dope. I know Monk was up there with the gang performing some poetry and stuff. I was busy that day, so I wasn't able to make it. But I was there, I think either last year or 2 years ago, performing some poetry there, and it's a really nice time.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's phenomenal. Everyone there is full of energy,
Mhm.
And you really, one of the things that I enjoyed most was seeing the one woman did a henna tattoo
Oh, cool.
on my girl, and bro, I was just watching it.
Mhm.
And the way she did it, it was so effortless. She just
Bro, the people who are really good at that are so intricate and, like you said, effortless. So it's just like so smooth. It's crazy.
I had to ask her. I was like, "Excuse me, did you is there a reason why you chose that pattern? Did you feel something coming off of her that maybe, swayed your opinion on how you should do that henna tattoo?" And
Mhm.
she was like, "No, I just kind of I like my patterns, and this is what I felt like doing, and
That's
this is what I
cool.
did." And then she showed me her book, and her book was amazing. And I'm like, "Wow, this is really, really cool."
And her book has like the patterns she draws.
Yeah, it has like a whole hand sketch, and she would just do all these patterns.
That's
Just
cool.
Years and years and years of training. She says that's how she got as great as she is.
That's awesome. It's crazy how people just like get into those things and just like master that art form, and it's just things you would never think to like get into or you think about on the daily.
I agree. So Yoga Fest was phenomenal. There was a plant there that I really, really wanted, and I looked at it and I said, "I'm gonna come back for you."
Mm-hmm.
And I went back for it, and it was gone. It was gone, guys.
No.
That hurt my heart. That hurt my soul.
Ah.
And I'm still thinking about it to this day.
Ah.
Because it was such a unique plant. I didn't even get the name of the plant neither. So
Wherever you are, we're thinking of you.
we're thinking of you, and I hope you're being watered and treated well. But with that being said, everyone, welcome to the Middleman Podcast. I am the man in the middle, Kevin Martinez, and today we are joined by Silo Good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Silo good, silo better, never silo bad.
Love that, man. Love that. I've always wanted to have this podcast with you because your energy is always high up. Good vibes always.
Thank you.
Silo Good. Question number one, I guess we could say, is where does that alias come
Where's
from?
the name come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually like the number one question. So back when I first started doing music, I was going by my middle name. My middle name's not Silo, but it's spelled a little differently. So it's spelled Nsilo, right? So there's like nothing between the N and the S. So people were pronouncing it a little differently. So I'm just like, let me simplify it a little bit. I chopped off the S and just kept the Silo. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm a good person. I make good art, so I just put the word good under it. I'm like, Silo good. It sounds different. It sounds unique,
It
Not too
works. It works
absolutely.
well, man.
Not too many usernames are taken on social media, so I mean, let me just go with it.
I love that, man. And you are a person who you wear many caps. You're definitely involved in the arts. You are a poet, you are a songwriter, you are a musician, you are a theater, you're a part of theater. Like I'm like, yo, this man eat, breathe, sleep art. You are art.
Absolutely, thank you. It's a lot of hats. It gets a little stressful sometimes, like managing everything. But like it's if you enjoy it, it's not too much work. So.
So where did your creativity stem from? What was the first thing that you could find yourself doing in a creative atmosphere?
Well, I've always been into music since I was young. Sitting in the back seat of my mom's car. She was blasting 50 Cent, Eminem, Nelly. The early 2000s hip hop, right? So I kind of think that's really where it all started. My love of just hip hop and like rap music and kind of just music in general. So I would say like when I was in middle school is when I really started like writing music and like subpar poetry at the time. The music was subpar at the time too. Like you're writing it in middle school, it's not great, or at least for me, it wasn't. I was always like writing, always like doing some like type of like lyrics or poetry, prose or whatever. When I was in high school, I started acting. I started doing like theater. That's when I also started doing local theater. So that's when the acting hat like popped off. When I was in college, that's when I actually started recording music. So I like was able to use my university's software and hardware to start like recording music, start recording my raps. And that was what my senior project at the time was when I was graduating. I recorded an EP and I presented that as my senior projects.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
it was really cool. Yeah. So that's where the music cap came on, and then after college, kind of during COVID, was when I started doing like expanding into poetry. Shout out Monk, shout out the Party Poets, shout out Poets Live. So that's where the spoken word aspect of it came together, and music and poetry and acting. I think they all kind of just meld together at a certain point. They they benefit each other. So yeah, everything kind of just blends together, and just do a lot of things, I guess.
With that music, you had mentioned that you did that EP as your senior project. What was that EP? Is that still released to this day?
No, so yeah, right. It was on SoundCloud at the time. I think I privated it since then. So I don't know if you can find it, but if you can, you be digging. I had a little group at the time, and we rapped together, and we were called Nowadays. And the EP was it was called something like I kind of forget. It was like Nowadays presents the world's greatest boy band or something like that.
Funny.
Funny.
Okay.
It was really funny. It's just some goofy raps with my friends at the time. And yeah, it was just good vibes all around.
Was it still that lo-fi type of rap, or was it more of an upbeat type of rap that you were doing back then?
Back then, I was really inspired by Chance the Rapper at the time.
Okay.
He was in his heyday. He just released Coloring Book, and I went back and visited that, and Acid Rap. So I was super into that upbeat, like silly, goofy rap. So I kind of think that's where the recording, that's where I started. And then I transitioned more into like the lo-fi, more chill stuff. So it was a natural transition.
Nice, man. Yeah, Chance the Rapper, the acid
Shout out.
rap, that's a good one. That's a really good album.
Classic, man. Classic.
And I do like your lo-fi music, man. Your lo-fi, lo-fi is really a part of you. But before we get into the music, I wanted to ask you one more question about your name, because
hmm
I see that it follows you almost everywhere you go. You're a big fan of the lotus flower.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a fan of the lotus flower. I have it like tattooed right
Oh,
here.
okay.
My mom has a lotus flower tattoo on her, so I wanted to like, in honor of her and in respect of her. She's still alive though, so everything's good. I got a lotus tattoo to match her, and it's lotus is very lo-fi, so I feel like it fits the genre, fits the personality.
Yeah, Lotus. I know Jay Lotus. I've spoken with him about the lotus flower. He told me the significance behind it was that it came from the dirt,
hmm
and it becomes a beautiful flower. So,
Absolutely.
I saw that like kind of follows you wherever you go. So I figured I'd ask you. And I just noticed that there's also, is that a lotus flower?
I think it's cherry blossom. I also got cherry
Oh,
blossoms
cherry
like
blossom.
tattooed on me
Okay.
too, though. So cherry blossoms fit as well. Cherry blossoms is like one of those like because they bloom really quickly, and then they go away. So it's like symbolizes like, enjoy life and enjoy the small things while you have them because, they can go away very quickly. So that's one of my things as well, too.
Nice, man. Nice. So with poetry, right? You had told me that you started in 2019,
hmm
right? And it's something. What inspired you to pick up the pen? What inspired you to become a spoken word veteran, if you would?
Yeah, so like I said, I started with music and hip hop, and I feel like that blended very nicely into poetry. My man Monk at the time presented me opportunities to start performing some poetry around town, and at the time I only had my raps. So I'm like, I don't really have any poetry to perform, and he's just like, listen man, you're a poet and you don't even know it, like just take your raps and perform those in a different way. So that's when I took my raps at the time, and I started just speaking them without a beat, and it felt so powerful and so different than versus performing them over a beat and performing them live. You have so much more freedom when you're doing poetry. You have so much more expression doing the spoken word aspect of it, and I really enjoyed that. So 2019, I put the pen to paper. I'm like, all right, we're gonna actually write some stuff that's meant to be just spoken word. And yeah, I think that's where it started. Just my man Monk presented me the opportunity, and I grabbed it up and I ran with it, and I've been flying ever since.
Shout out Monk, Mr. Melville, my own new knowledge.
hmm
He's out here doing it for the party poet scene.
Absolutely.
We've had people from the party poets such as Joey Tucozy joined the show. Nick Miller as well. He's
hmm
joined the show. Now we got Silo here who's
Those are my
part of the
boys.
show. So you guys are all doing fantastic things, man, and I think that's really cool that Gary had seen that within you prior to you seeing that within yourself.
hmm
And for you to take that leap of faith, was it a difficult transition? Just trying to put the words out there without the beat behind you, or did it kind of like come to you naturally?
I wouldn't say it's difficult, but I would say it's different. Like when you're writing things for a beat, you're kind of confined. You have to make it fit a certain structure. You have to make it fit a certain flow. Versus when you're writing things for spoken word or poetry, I view it as more of it's an open playground. You can insert pauses when you want to insert pauses. You can escalate when you want to escalate. You really want to keep a flow for the spoken word, but you're not confined within the restraints of a 4 bar, 16 bars like type of thing. So it's different. I wouldn't say it's harder, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy that aspect of it.
So since you started poetry to now, what are some of those things that you've seen within yourself, development within as a poet? What have you seen that you wish you kind of knew early on, so you can like because you're growing into this wonderful poet, and I'll tell you my words of what I think of you
hmm
from when I've seen you the first go around to my most recent show that I've seen you at the Bazaar Skate Shop.
hmm
But within yourself, just reflecting in a mirror, what are some of those things that you have definitely improved on?
Well, first of all, these are great questions, Kevin. Thank you so much for being a great interviewer.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I think confidence is one of those things that you learn over time. And I think looking back, I would tell younger me or 2019 me is like, hey, listen, you're brave. You're more brave just for getting up on that stage and sharing this vulnerable part of yourself. Like if you stutter, that's okay. If you're nervous, that's okay. But confidence is one of those things you'll learn and you'll develop. And I think that's just something that comes with time. That's not something you just know right off the bat. But I wish I could go back and tell myself, like, hey, listen, you are taking this step to be on stage. That's a lot more than anyone can do.
Hmm.
So absolutely that.
Seriously, kudos to you guys because I mean, to anyone who gets on stage, it is a nerve wracking experience. Whether
hmm
you're in front of 5 people or a room full of hundreds, it is a nerve wracking experience. I don't think that feeling would ever go away,
No.
no matter how confident you become. Now, what I will say is when you get on that stage and the first word comes out, I feel like those jitters that you had just go away.
Everything settles after a while, yeah. And my high school drama teacher told me like one thing. She said, "If you're nervous, that's a good thing because that means you care."
Yeah.
I'm nervous before every single one of my performances, whether it's in front of 2 people or 200 people. And that's I think that's a good thing.
I get like numb fingers.
hmm
That's what I get. Whether it be before a podcast or whatever. It's like, oh, my fingers are numb. It's like, oh, we're getting a little clammy here. because I've been on stage on certain occasions where it would just be comedy. And yeah, it's nerve wracking,
Mm-hmm.
to be on that stage. Getting on this podcast, it's still
Yep.
nerve wracking. I prepare for the show, and I'm like, damn, did I do well enough? Did I do my research enough? Things of that nature always pops into my head when it's
Right.
time to go. Then it's time to go, and we're like, all right, it's time to
And then
go.
you're into the zone, right? And there's always only so much you can prepare, and then you have to prepare for the unexpected as well. Like you have to improv a little bit or something.
And that's the thing that I've learned as so development. I asked you the question of what you see within yourself, and what I've seen within myself as a podcaster is being able to do that improv, because at certain points I wasn't able to.
Yeah.
I was so fixated on keeping the script as it was and staying
Mm-hmm.
on that script and not breaking away from the script and just being like, okay, I didn't have the ability to do improv. As a matter of fact, an individual hit me up the other day asking me about podcasting. Asked me some questions. How am I so confident to speak to other individuals about so many different topics?
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, one of the best things that I learned was I had to stop trying to insert myself into every individual's story,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
trying to relate and really truly listen to what's going on, because we are on this segue right now because I listened to what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I listened that you said there's a part of improv in it, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's right. There it is.
So let's roll with this. Roll with this little tangent.
Roll with it
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So that's the thing that as a podcaster I've seen developing within myself, and it's one of those things that you just learn over time, and
Absolutely.
it comes with practice and just really embodying the fact that you are this person, you are
Yeah.
this individual.
And you have to start out and make mistakes. You have to start out nervous. You have to start out not doing the best, and then eventually, with time, everything comes together.
Agreed, 1,000%. So, you had mentioned that you felt more confident now
Mm-hmm.
than you were back then. Okay. And here are my notes, right?
Oh,
I
snap.
was like, I've seen you perform like a year ago, and most recently at the Bazaar Skate Shop, like maybe 2 to 3 months ago.
Yeah, a little
Correct me
bit
if I'm
ago,
wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, visibly, I saw a more confident Silo, verbatim, right here.
Ah,
Right here,
snap.
bro. One that was more comfortable in your skin,
Mhm.
one that really didn't care so much of what the audience thought, but just knew that you were going to go up there and perform what you wanted to do because you loved it.
Yes.
So I can definitely attest to that thought that, you feel more confident because I can see it. I've seen it.
Thank
And
you.
it's really cool, man. So congratulations
Thank
to
you
you
so much.
to be able to do that, and for me to just be there observing you from, the first time I came across. I feel like the first time I saw you perform was at Adezo's when Adezo's was still Adezo's.
It might have been back in the day, right?
Yeah, like back in the
Absolutely.
day. Monk was outside with a speaker,
Mhm.
and you went up there, you performed a few pieces,
And you performed something too.
I
dude.
did,
That's
I
right.
did, I did do.
Uh-huh.
I think I did a comedy bit up there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did.
I remember.
But I initially didn't sign up for it. It was you guys who went up there that gave me the courage to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
And that's what I love about it too. Like the community aspect of it. Everybody helps each other. Everybody inspires each other. The friendly competition of it all. When you see a poet or an artist go up there and like do absolutely amazing, it gives you the boost. Like, all right, I want to do just as great as he did. And
Mhm.
that's I think the community aspect of it is just the most beautiful part of this whole entire art scene.
I agree, man. And back to your show at the Bazaar Skate Shop.
Mhm.
You did something different that I've never seen before. Since I've watched you perform, this was the first time I've ever seen you do this. You brought out a mixing board of some sort,
Mm-hmm.
and you were playing beats behind your poetry,
Right.
and you were actively, chopping it up. I remember the one song with the phone,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
phone call.
Mhm.
I loved it. It was
the classic.
hilarious.
Thank you,
It was
thank you.
hilarious. Every few bars you would hit the
Mhm.
button, and it's comical too to see how casually you just do it. You're just like
I know,
you
right?
just
Can't take it too seriously. You gotta have fun with it.
exactly, man. And I want to just say from me sitting there, I was like, I want to go up there with him, bro.
Right?
I was like, I want to go up there with him, and I want to riff with you because I felt like I could have because
Mhm.
you had that really nice, inviting aspect to it. It was nice. It was melodic. It was smooth.
Thank you, man.
And you had the perfect pauses. So it
Mhm.
was like I was like, all right, he just said something. I can answer back with some fire.
Right?
Then he can hit me with some other fire, and then we can go back and forth, man. So how recent did you add that element to your performances? Because I think that's brilliant. I've never
Thank
seen
you.
anyone do anything of that nature.
Thank you. I would say probably like last year is when I bought that. It's an SPU 404 Mark II Roland. People use it to make like beats and stuff and like drum. It's like a drum machine. And it's kind of funny. Like I said, I started with music. Then I transitioned to poetry, and now it's poetry over music, which is just like hip hop at some point. So, like I said, it all blends together. The lines are blurry. I do a lot of things, but last year is when I added that little element, and I kind of wanted to just differentiate myself, add a little uniqueness to my set. I wanted things to be not that they're not fun already, but I just wanted to add some fun elements to it. I wanted to add some goofiness, like the adding the beat and doing the telephone. It sounds cool, it's melodic and it's fun, but it's funny too because if you do it a certain way and you put on the act with it,
Uh-huh.
it turns out to be really funny. So that added a lot of opportunities and a lot of different ways to present poetry and present spoken word. I really just want to take my act to another level sometimes. And just like, when I perform, I want it to be memorable. I want it to be fun. So I just want people to have a good time. So added it last year. Still going strong with it. And thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words too. It
Yeah, of
means a
course,
lot to me.
bro.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed it. I think as a matter of fact, it really does help you stand out. Because it's like, oh, I remember him because he was the one doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Because much credit to all the other party poets. You guys are
Yes.
phenomenal as well. But you were the only one within that group that was doing that of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
If everyone did it, then it may not be quote unquote as special. But
So don't do it.
it's his thing.
It's
It's
my
his thing.
thing. I took it.
No, that's great, man. And like I said, I wanted to get up there and riff with you. And I've had experiences with that machine as well. I'm
Mm-hmm.
wearing his sweater right now, Mr. Broy
Shout out,
Beats.
bro. Yeah, he has one too.
Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Broy Beats. We were in the studio, the sanctuary,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a freestyle moment where it was me, Johnny three times,
Mm-hmm.
Bucket Hat Zach, Jedi Rose,
Jedi. Shout out Jedi.
Broy, Monk, and our engineer Nezo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our engineer Nezo. And we were all down there freestyling, bro, and it was so much
Bro, he
fun,
was
bro.
probably going
He
insane on that
was, he
thing too.
was.
He's talented, man. I know how to press the buttons, but he knows like the intricacies of like all that.
Everyone had their own little ad lib and everything. It was
Uh-huh.
so funny, bro.
That's
It
awesome.
was like just a little deep, and there is footage of it. It's locked away in the vault. It's one of those things, bro. It was one of those things that like it felt great to be a creator at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
To be in that atmosphere. And I was like, damn, like how do we get here? Like
I know,
it's
right?
2, 3 a.m. and we're in here and they're making a song right now.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Jedi still has that whole track.
That's
Like
dope.
I freestyled on it too. Like
Those are moments you live for, man. Just the moments you can get together with people that have like the same mindset or similar taste or whatever and just vibe out.
I loved it, man. It was phenomenal. So, you've been performing poetry for quite some time. You've been at a few different venues. Could you care to share an experience that maybe someone had approached you after a show and maybe gave you some kind words, or maybe it was like, "Hey, thank you for that piece of poetry that you just delivered," because it meant a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I have a singular experience, but usually after like every show, there will always be like somebody that will come up to me and be like, "Hey, I really related to this piece." A lot of my poems and songs in general. I'm a light skin at heart, so I be crying. I be writing songs about longing and emotional attachments and oh things didn't work out, the one that got away. So I think that resonates with a lot of people. So, someone will usually come up after the show to me and just be like, "Hey, I really related with this piece. Like, here's my life story." And I always love to hear those interactions. I love to hear how people like, related to the pieces. I like hearing people's stories and stuff like that. It's nice to know that my experience can be like your experience, and we have this shared experience. There are some people that um, you know, don't like to really talk to people after the set or, like just like to have their own experiences. But I love like hearing people talk. I love, hearing your stories because your stories can become my stories and vice versa and all that.
Yeah, man. You make pieces that resonate for people. Whether it be your sad boy, you're in your bag.
Absolutely.
You have a very light soul to you though. And you're very approachable.
Thank you.
People can approach you and they can speak to you, and you're just always a good vibe. Silo good,
Silo good, baby.
better and never bad,
Silo
right?
better, never bad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Like being a people person. You got
Yeah.
to be nice these days. There's too much bad stuff around.
I agree, man. I agree. So I saw that today you are performing.
Yeah, today, so I'm performing as of recording. It is June 15th. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, it's
give
okay.
that away.
That's fine. That's fine.
Give away the magic of it all.
It happens. We I think everyone knows.
Right. So there's a Juneteenth event going on at the Black Scranton Center. So I'll be performing some poetry along with Shad. And Capital G will be there, Devontae Singh. It's going to be a nice time. It starts at 12, goes to 5. The performances aren't until 2:30 though, so like we got time.
All right,
Yeah, it's
cool.
going to be a good time.
Because I saw the post and I was like, uh oh. I was like,
No, no, we're good. We're good. I double book a lot, but today I made sure to like get my stuff in order.
awesome, man. And how soon did you know that you were being a part of that show?
They reached out to me probably 2 weeks ago or whatever. Black Scranton is in conjunction with a business called Beyond Your Expectations, and that's ran by Sabrina Guzman. She runs the Rhythm and Rhymes Poetry Night over at the ANZ Hotel currently, and I've had the honor of being a part of that show the last 3 showings there. So she's in charge of the entertainment for the Juneteenth event, and she reached out to me, reached out to Shad. We have mutual connections. And I'm always doing stuff for Black Scranton. I love Black Scranton. Shout out Glennis. A real pillar of the community. So about 2 weeks ago, they reached out to me, and I said, of course, like anything for you guys and for Black Scranton. Yeah,
Do you know what you're going to be performing today?
I do. I do. It's one of my signature pieces. Something I'm really proud of.
Maybe we get a little warm up or something of that
Yeah,
nature.
of course. You want to hear it?
Of course, man. Let's hear it.
It's a longer piece, so I'll only do like the first half of it. All right?
Sounds
Is that
great.
all right?
Yeah,
All right,
that's
cool,
fine.
cool. This is called "Pray for Me." This is like one of my favorite pieces. I do this one all the time. It'll take probably like 2 or 3 minutes. So
Let it take 10. It doesn't matter.
say no more. All right. Pray for me. I urge you to enter. My mind is the garden, but sometimes it feels like my body's the center. I've been down for a minute. I've been locked up on my own. I've been sleeping too much and I got trapped in my home. So pray for me. I'm a victim of me. I didn't ask for no pity. I didn't want sympathy. I just wanted a journal to write. Let me out on my own. Let me see through those curtains and maybe then I'll atone. So pray for me. I wish you the best. You've been navigating oceans. You deserve some rest. Won't let these waves overtake you. These demons trying their best. I found light in the water made through your nourishing nest. So pray for me. Embers and mountains, they've got no scratch on your will. We've been through happier hollows, through the house on the hill. I could write you a letter. I hope these words can fulfill. I hope heaven is stable. I hope the Father is real. Cause I'm not really sure what I believe these days in light of all these dark parallels. I've been tackling my own ego. My pride is made out of plastic. These words, they travel so fast. My mind ain't noticed what happened. I've been a son from the start. My shoes had holes from the jump. My world lived in that park. Somebody paid our rent every month. My flaws live on my sleeve. I'm insecure on the front. I ain't been writing much lately because I can't make up enough. So pray for me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Snaps all around. Snaps all around.
Snaps all around.
We'll,
Snaps all
we'll,
around.
we'll insert those during post.
I love that, man. That was fantastic. And when did you write Pray for Me?
I wrote Pray for Me probably 3 years ago now. And every so often I'll go back and add a little more to some of my older pieces. So everything's always getting refreshed and all that. But about 2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Are there any goals or aspirations to maybe put a poetry book together, anything of that nature?
Yeah, eventually. I do have a lot in the vault, and I have been looking into it. It's a little easier than I thought to kind of just put a book together and like have it published. You can like do it through like Amazon and stuff like that. I have a lot of poet friends who have done that and gone that route. So eventually, yeah,
That'd be awesome, man. Let me know. I'll get one.
absolutely.
I'll get one,
Say
man.
no more.
I'm a big fan of reading poetry. We've had one individual. His name's Kafar Myers,
Mhm.
and I have his book over there, and it's called. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on it.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on it. It's something of you. Like I remember it was something of you, and it was a fantastic book. So I am a fan. Let me know when that book comes out because I'll
Absolutely.
definitely love to read your pieces and knowing you as an individual. Being able to hear your story, being able to hear where you're going through. Right there, I just heard like a piece of you. When you were talking about the house on a hill.
Mhm.
My heavenly Father, things of that nature. My shoes had holes in it. Like I was like, all right, you can hear the person within the poetry, and that's what
Absolutely.
I enjoy most.
Thank you.
When I'm listening to it.
I really like sharing pieces of myself and my story. And I think the cool thing with poetry is like, you may write things with one experience in mind, and then the person listening to it might take that a certain way and have their own experiences attached to it. So that's why, like, I never, when I'm going on stage, I never really explain my poetry too much because I just want the words to speak for themselves, and I want the listener to like have their own experiences with it. I want them to just like experience it their own way. So thank you so much.
That's
Thanks a
how it
lot.
should be, man. Let them interpret it for what it should be.
Absolutely.
That's what art is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what art is all about. So yeah, Silo Good, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, he's a fantastic individual. We're just gonna do this real quick, okay? We are putting on a music festival at
Mm-hmm.
the Ritz Theater, okay? Atmosphere Music Festival. Make sure you guys check it out. Here are the tickets. All right, July 20th. We got 14 artists. Your boy, the Middleman Podcast, will be the MC of the event. We were talking about the stage presence, right? We were talking about the stage presence. And one of the things that I'm most nervous about is that I am the first individual who's going to go on that stage.
I gotta open it all up.
Dude, I got to open the show up. And I'm
Oh,
like, oh, how
man.
do I? I'm like, I've been sitting here thinking to myself, like, what do I do? Like,
Mhm.
like what do I?
Oh, bro, you just bring that good energy. As long as you start that baby off with good energy and, like, you're happy to be there, everything else falls into place.
I agree, man. So I'm excited. You guys should definitely make sure you check out Atmosphere
Mhm.
Media Festival. Tickets are available online. 14 artists, 6 different food vendors. We got clothing vendors. It's going to be a phenomenal show. Atmosphere Music Festival at the Ritz Theater. But let's get back to the topic at hand.
Mhm.
All right. So thank you for that piece, by the way.
Thank you.
And so not only do you perform poetry, you are also in theater.
I am.
You
I
are
am.
also in theater, and you had recently done a show.
Mhm.
It was titled, or excuse me, a play. It was titled
Mhm.
"A Man, a Woman, and a Head of Lettuce."
Absolutely.
And I don't know what to make out of that title. I'm so intrigued. I'm like, could you please? I'm sorry, I missed the show.
No, that's okay.
I was like, damn, I really wanted to go because I love to do those type of interactions before the show, so then that way I could bring it to the show.
Mhm.
But would you mind explaining what that play is about? Because
Yes.
guys, a man, a woman, and a head of lettuce.
It sounds insane.
What is the plot? What do you, Mike? Mike, what do you think the plot is? Real quick before we get started here, Mike, may I ask your opinion on what your plot is for a man, a woman, and a head of lettuce?
I'm guessing it's gonna be about a man and a woman.
Uh-huh.
It has to be something about them cooking and them doing something while it's cooking.
What if I told you a lettuce never makes an appearance in the show? Would that be crazy?
That's crazy because there's a head of lettuce on like the poster itself,
Right.
And
It's misdirection.
it's like on the silhouette of a body. Am I wrong by saying that? Like I thought the head of lettuce was like actually like a silhouette of a body.
Not exactly. Not exactly.
Okay.
But that was a great guess.
All right.
Was I close or no?
You were close. I'm messing. I'm fucking around with the lettuce does appear in the show.
All right, so that's not a bad take. I'm gonna take my take
Okay.
here. A man, a woman, and a head of lettuce.
Okay.
Okay. I could go with the cooking theory, but there's definitely a man and a woman, and for some reason I feel like there's a tragedy, and the tragedy was caused by the head of lettuce.
Okay.
Or it's a cover up like for. Oh, he didn't die. He just ate a bad head of lettuce. Something of that nature. And that's how I took it because like the poster itself does give a little bit of a gloomy ambiance.
Okay.
Just a little bit in my opinion. So that's where I came up with that theory. So
Not bad guesses. Not bad guesses. You're getting aspects. You're getting like little
Okay.
sprinklings of a little bit. So a man, a woman, a head of lettuce. It's actually 3 short plays combined into one. Written by local playwright Ted LaRusso, directed by Casey Thomas. It was a great time down at Actors Circle and Providence Playhouse. So a man, a woman, and a head of lettuce. So like I said, it's three shows combined into one, and in each show there is a kid named Peter. So in the first act of the show, this first one is called Roquefort. So in Roquefort, it involves a wife and a husband, and their child ran away from home, but he left a note on the table next to a head of lettuce, and he's like, "Mom, Dad, I ran away from home." Or no, he's like, "Mom, Dad, I couldn't take it anymore, so I turned myself into a head of lettuce." And it's just this like ridiculous like comedy, and it's like the mom's like starts to believe it at the end. She's like, "What if he turned himself into a head of lettuce?" And she like accidentally chops it in half, and she's like, "I killed my baby," and all that. So it's really funny. And then the second half, or the middle part, is called Hallelujah Breakdown, and it follows the child. The child's name is Peter. In the first part, he was like 5, and in this part, he's like 17 or whatever. And he's a gay teen, and he's like finding himself in the world. So it's kind of just goes through this like ridiculous plot of he's Catholic, but he's converting to being a Protestant so he can be closer to this boy that's in the Protestant church that he has a crush on. He starts speaking in tongues, so he just starts saying like ridiculous stuff like Shaka Khan, Ratatouille in church and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. And it's a lot of fun. And then the last part is called Vichy Soir. And in Vichy Soir, it follows the boy Peter. He was 17, so now he's 45. And in the last part, it's like a really long monologue, and this monologue is directed towards, he's talking to the Monsignor of the church, and he's explaining to the Monsignor how and why he got caught with a potato shoved up his ass. And he's like trying to explain his piece as to how it accidentally got up there and he fell on it and all that. So
My goodness.
yeah, it was a ridiculous, avant-garde-ish comedy, but it was so funny, so much fun.
And what role did you play in the entire play?
I played Andy, so I played the guy who the main character had a crush on. So I was the guy in the Protestant church who the affection was towards. Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal play. I
lot
did
of fun.
not expect that type of plot. By any means necessary.
Absolutely.
But that's great, man. Kudos to the writer. That's such a curveball. Wow.
Right?
How did you even think of that, buddy? Like,
Ted LaRusso he's talented, man. He's fantastic. Absolutely. Local playwright.
how many plays have you been a part of personally? Do you know?
Ah, man.
Or is there like so many you just
So many, man.
Do you have a favorite role that you've played in one?
A favorite role? I don't know. There was a play I was a part of back in 2014. Was when I was a freshman in college. I played the role. I believe the name was Tyrone or whatever, in a play called A Behanding in Spokane, directed by the same guy who directed this play, Casey Thomas. And that play involved just four people. Me and my girlfriend in the play were like locked up in this hotel room because a drug deal had gone wrong, and the guy who's like kidnapping us and keeping us there, he had a hand chopped off, but he opened up a suitcase and there were like 26 prop hands in there, and he's like fake hands, and we started throwing hands at each other, like actual hands at each other at the end, and it was just ridiculous. I love being a part of just like ridiculous, stupid, funny like plays like that, you know?
Yeah, man. That's awesome. Would you ever write a play yourself?
Myself, I don't know if I have like that kind of like bone in my body. I like writing poetry. I like writing songs. Sitting down and writing a story requires a kind of like discipline and concentration. I don't know, my ADHD brain could handle. That's a whole different level. And I'm really bad with grammar. I don't know where periods or commas go or apostrophes. That's why if you look at my songs and my poems, like written down, I ain't got no commas, no apostrophes. I don't know where it goes. I don't know where none of that works.
I try. I
definitely try.
I don't know if I'm the best at it, but I do my best.
Bro, I was in honors English like in high school, so like at some point I knew, but like afterwards, once you don't have to focus on that, it's kind of like whatever.
The whole apostrophe S thing is always like a curveball to me.
I don't know if it's possessive or plural. Like it's a lot.
There's a lot to grammar, man. There's a lot to grammar. Well,
Absolutely.
that's excellent, man. Good for you to do these plays, man. It sounds like it's something that you're really involved in. What was the biggest venue that you've ever performed at?
Biggest venue I ever performed at? Oh, that is a great question. Play wise, I would just say in high school. I went to Scranton High, so the auditorium there is really big, and we did Wizard of Oz my senior year of high school. So again, this is high school theater. I don't know if it really counts, but we had a sold out show every single showing of that. So that one was really good and a lot of fun. Music wise, what was my biggest crowd music wise? I performed down in Harrisburg, I think last year. Shout out Joe Caviston. He runs emo nights in town, and he also ran some Mac Miller nights. So I got to open up for their Mac Miller night down there, and there was like 300 to 400 people, I believe, in that
Wow.
crowd. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. The energy was great. It's fantastic. Yeah.
You live an exciting life, man. It sounds like you find yourself in these areas and these locations, and it's all because of the arts, man. How
It's all because
awesome
of
is
the arts.
that?
Absolutely, right? It's the arts. It's just being kind to people, and once you're kind to people, they present you with opportunities. So just be nice to people, man. Make friends. Like you don't know how many opportunities you will be presented with. Like in me coming on this show, it's like like we had mutual connections, and you'll never know who can hook you up with things. Sounds kind of selfish, but you never know the opportunities presented to you.
No, I agree, man. Every time I do a show, it opens up gateways for other potential guests. And it's great. The more and more we do it, the more guests want to come on a show, and it's just like, all right, how do we manage and figure out
Absolutely.
how to do these shows? Just because someone has a mutual is well appreciated, but even still, I want to do my research and make sure it's a right fit for the both of us. And I knew from conversations that you and I have had just in the streets where you were performing, whatever the case may be, I was like, no, I can sit down and talk to Silo. I can have a coffee with him and we can have a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic conversation, man. So here we are. We're doing it big, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this conversation. Now, you had mentioned to me that you are a part of, well, community,
Mm-hmm.
community. You had mentioned Black Scranton. You had mentioned just being involved in a community and doing things of that nature. So you had told me that you were a part of the Scranton Fringe Fest. You said you were a
Yes.
youth program manager for the Scranton Fringe Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you, what does that entail? What does that mean for you?
So the Scranton Fringe Festival is a local nonprofit organization that specializes in arts. Bringing arts to the community, really emphasizing local artists, local playwrights, and every year they put on a festival in town called the Scranton Fringe Festival. It's where people can submit their plays or their works to the organization, and whichever works are approved, they get set up with housing. If they're out of town, they get set up with a venue, and they can put on their show, and whatever tickets they sell, they can profit from it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a great thing. And my role as the youth program manager, so besides the one big festival a year, we do like smaller things throughout the year. So this is kind of a new initiative, but last year it started with, we had a podcast workshop for youth. So we had kids ranging from like middle school to high school, but it was mostly middle schoolers, and we brought them in, and it was a workshop over, I believe it was a 4 week span, and we taught them kind of like how to talk on a microphone, how to develop a podcast, and at the end, it resulted in the kids recording their own podcast, expressing themselves, and it got uploaded so the parents and them and could listen to it. And yeah, so we are trying to focus on bringing unique programs to the groups of kids and individuals who wouldn't have those opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. And I've never I've heard of the Scranton Fringe Festival, but I wasn't sure of what it was.
Hmm.
So, I did my research as well, and I didn't know that they provided housing for people that if they were to want to do something of that nature in this town, that it's approved. It's approved, it's in the budget,
Absolutely.
so they do that. That's phenomenal. And how long has a Fringe Festival been going on? Are you aware?
They're celebrating their 10 years this
Wow.
year. So a decade long, and it's been great. I've been involved with them in some aspect and capacity for many years, whether it's just acting in show or now working with them. So they're great people. They offer great opportunities. So if you're into local theater, and it's not just theater. Like last year during the Fringe Festival, there were music performances. There were comedy shows. So it's a lot of different things mixed together. So there's something for everybody.
When do you know when that big festival is happening this year? Did it already pass?
No, so it usually happens. They're gonna flame me for this. I believe it happens around September every year. So it's around the fall and all that. And if you are interested, you can go to scrantonfringefestival.org. Yeah, Google it. You'll find it. And you can sign up for a membership, and what the membership entails. I believe it's like a yearly membership or something like that. And you'll get like, I believe it's either discounted or free admission to like the shows during the festival. You can just go to like any one of them. There's more info online if I'm saying the wrong things.
How
So
long is the festival? Is it usually like a weekend long?
I believe it's 2 weeks.
Wow.
And in those 2 weeks, it usually happens, I believe, on like the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe a Thursday in there. So it's time.
And it's like split up basically. It's different types of arts. If you would say, like, let's say maybe they would do a comedy, then they would do, okay, wow.
And it's a lot of shows happening at the same time. So, and there's a lot of different venues. So last year there were some at the Scranton Cultural Center, then there was some at the Space on Olive, and then there was some like in the mall at the Shake Space at Steamtown. So it's happening. Everything's happening consecutively, but there's multiple shows, so you can bob weave and around downtown.
That's awesome,
Catch 'em
man.
all.
That is awesome to be a
Mhm.
part of that, to be a part of the community. Be, like I said in the beginning of the show, bro, you are art, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you are a big advocate for the area to continue to put on these shows and let these people from all creative backgrounds come together and make something big out of this area, you know.
Absolutely, man.
And it's beautiful to see in Scranton. It really is. You know, shout out the Scranton Fringe Festival to be able to do that because, you know, like there's a lot of those things that, you know, don't have a space. They don't have a platform. They don't have an event of this caliber to be able to do that, you know, and to know that it's in this area.
Yeah.
It's pretty special, man.
Yeah, and there's that pervasive like thought for, you know, some people slash a lot of people that live here. It's like there's nothing to do in Scranton. I hate being here. And it's just like, man, if you open your eyes, there's so much stuff to do here, man. Like shout out the Ritz for like, you know, putting on these music festivals and stuff like that. So many nonprofits like, you know, emphasizing art, emphasizing these music conferences. Like if you open your eyes and just take like one look out the window, there's so much going on.
All the time,
All the
bro. You
time.
walk into a bar and now here you are, you're in an open mic and
Absolutely.
you'd even know it.
Right?
Like,
And I feel like it's a renaissance right now. Like maybe a couple years ago, fine. Like maybe it was a little stale, but like I feel like there's a renaissance of art, of music, of, you know, just fun things happening around town right now.
you know who told me that the first time I heard about that Scranton is in a renaissance? The first person who ever said that to me was Monk.
Yeah, really?
Yep.
Well, see, he was on to
First
something.
person, and that was like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, man, Scranton's like in a renaissance. Like I really see the arts definitely taking over
Absolutely.
and doing a lot more. And you know, with First Friday and things of that nature, bro. Like there's a plethora of things to do here. You know, like we did a live show on a First Friday, and we
Mhm.
had like people in the crowd watching it.
That's awesome.
Nerve wracking. It was amazing.
Mhm.
And we're gonna do it again at the Bazaar Skate Shop.
Shout out Bazaar.
Okay,
Man.
you know,
Fingers
so
crossed.
we spoke about it verbally on the when I saw you last, and he was all for it. He was all
Word.
for it. So let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
So back to the Fringe Festival. You know, there was something I wanted to look up. I was like, let me just look up because I've never heard the term fringe, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, let me just Google fringe and let me get the definition of it.
Right.
But you know, as a matter of fact, I ran into something called it just said, what does it mean if someone's being fringe?
Okay.
Like if I were to say you're being fringe, or
Mhm.
if someone were to say I'm being fringe, right? And it says a group of people whose beliefs place them on the outskirts of a social group.
Oh, you're on the fringes. Okay.
Yeah, and then
Uh-huh.
it goes not mainstream. And I was like, huh. I was like, and then I was thinking about the festival and I was thinking about the act that they put on and what you just told me. And I'm like, you know what? That makes perfect sense.
It does, right?
It makes perfect sense.
Never really thought about that.
Because, you know, you hear a lot of stories from creators feeling like they were outcasted,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that they felt like they were alone or whatever the case may be, or they didn't know how to express themselves. So they found an art as a form to express themselves. And then the turnaround is they found people who are just as much into it as
Mhm.
they are. And now you are a part of this social group, this, you know, you have your peoples with you, and you felt like, you know, it's just like now you have your own social group.
Right.
You're in a fringe, I guess you could say. And I thought that was pretty cool. What do you think of that?
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I think when you know you delve into a scene or whatever, when you're a creative, you can definitely feel that way of like, you know, I feel like I think differently than other people, or I feel like I'm not like other people. Not trying to sound like pretentious or anything, but you definitely feel like you're on like the outside sometimes, and then you know you find that like there are people who think similarly to you, or and have like the same like aspirations or same, you know, creative ideals. So then that community forms, and you know you can still feel like you're on like the outside of something, so living on like the fringes or something. But you know that doesn't mean that there aren't people that, like you said, like have just the same goals or same similarities as you. So I like that. I like that definition of thinking of it that way.
Things happen, you know, like like you said, it's not to sound pretentious or anything like that, but like, you know, we start to embark on this journey, and the people who you were hanging around with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they start to drift away, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, your new best friend is someone who you just met a month ago, a week ago, that is just has the same drive and same passion for the same creative
Yep.
act that you are doing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it's like, all right, well, these are now my new people. I still got love for my old people, though,
Absolutely.
don't get me wrong, but it's like, listen, like these are the people that I'm going to surround myself around with, because they're going places and we're going to take each other there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to take each other there. I
Just-
still love
yeah.
you, though.
Yeah, I still love you though.
I still
Everything's
love you, though,
cool.
bro. Like, I'm glad that you were doing what you're doing. You're
Yeah,
doing what
no
you
tea,
need to
no
do.
shade.
No tea, no shade at all, bro. You know, do what you got to do, man.
Absolutely.
I remember someone that mentioned like, oh, you know, a boring 9 to 5. I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. I'm like,
Mhm.
they're working there, they're doing their job, bro. Not everyone has to be this extraordinary creator or extraordinary person.
Hmm.
You could just be a person who is in, who lives a good life, and that's it.
Exactly.
You're living your life. You're at peace with what you do, and that is okay, bro.
Absolutely.
That is okay.
That's a great way to
100%.
think of it.
Of course, man. So, lastly, let's get into your music,
Oh
man.
man, let's
Let's get
do
into
it.
your music. A lot of lo-fi music here.
Hmm.
I was taking a listen to it all day this morning. I was taking a listen to it all day yesterday. Some of my favorite songs is SOS.
Oh,
I was a
SOS is great.
big fan of SOS.
Shout out Tatiana.
Wicked Design.
Wicked Design's good.
Dude, Wicked Design, the feature on that,
Hmm.
she was like
She's Cypher.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is she still going?
She's still going. She lives out in Philly, but she was a local rapper. She recorded down with Monk at the Cave studio in Sanctuary at one time. We actually recorded that song down at the Cave. So fun fact. Yeah, she's still going. She's great, bro. She is so talented.
Is music one of those things that you just like still dabble in every now and then?
Still dabbling in every now and then. So like I said, I wear a lot of hats, and some hats I take a little break from, and then I'll come back to it. And I think that's just an important aspect to have when you like are creative and you have a lot of things going on. It's okay to step away from things for a little bit. You still have love for it, and then you can come back to it when the time feels right. So I'm in a little bit of a break period now as I focus on acting, poetry, and just other life stuff. But I always have stuff in the vault. I have unreleased music. I have stuff I can go back and get mixed and all that. So it's definitely take your breaks and then come back to it when the time feels right.
I'm a fan of the lo-fi vibes. I don't know if you know Coda the Friend.
Oh, bro, I love Code of the Friend.
Yeah, Coda the Friend. It's someone who I thought of when I was listening to your
Hmm.
music because I'm like, nah, I like these vibes. These are nice, cool,
Absolutely.
melodic vibes. And there was one song that I did pull a lyric from, and it was a song called Polo.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Frozen.
and you were saying started as a hobby, now it feels like a mission.
Yeah.
What were you referring to when you said that?
That was, man, I recorded that probably back in 2018, 2019. That's when I really got into music. And I'm like, this is a hobby right now, but this is something I really want to pursue. I really want to like make something out of. I really wanted a finalized product to be proud of. And when I put that EP out, Life is in High School, um, that's what felt like the final product. Like, you know what? I did something. And yeah, I can be proud of this.
Good, man. Good for you. And music is definitely one of those things that I see you dabble in, man. And I'm a fan.
Thank you.
Do you produce your own beats as well, or?
I don't produce my own beats, at least not at the moment. I'm always trying to learn, but there's so many hats, man. It's like trying to fit another one on there. Producing beats, I feel like requires a different type of like thinking and mindsets. Like we said, Broy can do that. I know so many talented producers that can do that. I feel like my mind isn't focused enough to sit down and do whatever. I have the SP 404, so that's a little different of a process. You can kind of just like go through and tap and do some live stuff.
So, with all these hats that you wear, what's at the forefront right now?
What's at the forefront right now? I recently got into bookbinding, so I make notebooks now.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. I go to a lot of craft fairs and sell these notebooks. So that's something I'm doing right now. I just finished my play, so honestly, I'm just trying to take a rest and like, chill out for the summer and vibe out. But notebooks, I make those. I'm always writing poetry, so that's something that's always ongoing all the time. You can never stop, just writing down ideas and stuff like that. My podcast, the Double Kick Podcast, I make with my friend Dan Hoy. It's about video games, so we try to record. We're just getting started, so we try to record twice a month, put out 2 episodes a month, just to see where the ball's rolling.
Is there any visual to that podcast? I didn't come across any.
No visuals at the
Okay.
moment, so it's still very new. We're not as established as you guys and all that. It's not as
Listen.
professional, yeah. So we record over Discord because he lives in Jersey. So we're still trying to figure out a lot of things. But we like, like kind of like where we are right now and just keeping it very recreational. But that's keeping me busy. Man,
You got the voice for it, man. You got the voice.
appreciate it.
I was telling you off camera. I was like, you got a certain like Bob Ross aspect to you when
Thank you.
when I heard you on the podcast yesterday. I was like, nah, he's like real calm, cool.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
like, he's just like chopping it up, little subtle jokes here and there,
Mhm.
and it's great, man. I really do think that if you put your mind to it and that's something you want to continue with, you can definitely succeed in that. I mean, granted, your voice has carried you so far
That's so
already,
true.
so you already have that within you. So
Mhm.
it's great to see, man. But we're about to transition into tea time, not brought to you by,
Man.
but inspired by Arizona IC. But Silo, before we get off the air, if there's anything you want to leave for the people who are watching at home, this is your time to just leave any messages that you want to leave.
All right, it's plug time. Let me run down the list. Tune into the Double Kick Podcast. We're on streaming services everywhere. You can follow us on Instagram. We're just getting started, so give us a little slack or whatever. I got an EP coming out soon. So like I said, it's something that I've been like working on slowly. It's not too soon, but stay tuned. You can follow me Silo Good on Instagram to keep in touch with that. And yeah, just keep being beautiful out there, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely.
Keep being beautiful. That's what it is. If you're not busy, July 20th, make sure you pop out to the Atmosphere Music Festival. Silo, it was a pleasure having you here, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you perform and continue to elevate your game, man.
Thank you so much.
Because from the first time I've seen you to now, as I mentioned, that confidence is there. It's growing and it's shining off of you, bro. So
Thank you.
keep it up.
Hell
It
yeah.
was a pleasure having you on the show. Everyone, thank you for watching. I am the man in the middle, Kevin Martinez, and make sure you turn into Tea Time. Not brought to you by, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. Peace.
Bye.